Good afternoon. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Monica Garcia. I am a very proud Cal Bear from the class of 1991. That seems a long time ago, and I think it is. But let me tell you, I'm so excited about the graduates of LA Unified class of 2021. And I continue to be inspired and in awe and just affirmed as a human being with the talent that is in our schools. So today we are taking a pause to celebrate all of our students, and in particular, give a very warm welcome to the entering freshman class of 2025 for UC Berkeley from Los Angeles. So thank you, all of you, for being with us. Thank you for making time to share a piece of your afternoon. And I hope you're going to feel a little bit of energy, affirmation, excitement as you hear from our guests. So we're going to introduce you to some Cal grads, and we're going to ask them to share their story. And we're super excited and proud that one of Los Angeles's sons, Alfonso R. Salazar, is the incoming president for the California Alumni Association. And so we recognize him and his leadership, and we just love to feel the energy of a strong California with all of you part of it. So we're going to hear from Alfonso. Chloe may join us, and she's the executive director of the Cal Alumni Association. Natalie Rocha, a grad from 2011. John Jairo Valencia, a grad from 2016. And yes, EJ Kingberg, representing the Cal class of 21. So I'm going to welcome them. Let's hear from them. I'll invite you to introduce yourself and give us a little bit of the highlights of your journey. Welcome, welcome, EJ. Let's start with you.
Hello, everybody. My name is EJ. I use they, them pronouns. And I am, I just finished Berkeley class of 2021, and I'm a conservation and resource studies major with an emphasis in aquatic biology and wildlife conservation. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to ask me any sort of questions about that, especially if anything relating to the College of Natural Resources, now known as Rouser. But please feel free to let me know if you have any questions regarding that. And a big congrats to everybody here just for getting into Cal. It's an amazing accomplishment in itself, and also kind of half the battle in a way. Once again, extremely proud of you all and super excited to be here to sort of share my experience, strength, and hope with you all. Basically my, I guess my story sort of begins with getting accepted. Basically my first time ever stepping foot on campus was actually as a high school senior in 2017, just before accepting actually, or just before officially committing to Cal. I had the opportunity to go to senior weekend, which was actually an event that I ended up throwing for the next 3 years. But basically it is a program through Bridges, which is a recruitment and retention center for students of color on campus. And basically the whole purpose of that organization in general is to provide resources to students of color, basically. And one of the resources that they provide as a recruitment and retention program is senior weekend. So that was one of the first sort of resources or programs that I got connected with coming to Cal, and it was before even stepping foot on campus as an actual student. And one of the other things, I'm really happy that the Cal Alumni Association is here in general, just because I am a previous scholar. I did receive one of the scholarships for my freshman and sophomore years. But one of an amazing resource, basically just getting to know alumni and also being able to just connect with other students in general. but definitely would recommend that as a resource as well. I think also, considering that I just finished and I graduated, I will not lie, I still am a little bit jaded from the university, but what I will say is that there are amazing resources and experiences to be had that are outside of the academic world there, honestly. I mentioned how much I loved going to Berkeley, not because I was a student at Berkeley, but because I got to actually like live in Berkeley and live in the Bay Area and function there. And it's a completely different world there. And there's so much community that exists there. And I am eternally grateful for that, on top of being able to go to Berkeley in itself. And I think one of the resources or ways that I was able to get connected with that was through the co-ops. And so the co-ops are a system of houses at Berkeley, basically designed for low income and Black and Brown students. And this is an amazing resource just because rent in the Bay Area is really expensive, and the co-ops help provide just a place for you to like basically put a roof over your head, and also basically go to school, just because the school isn't very accommodating when it comes to housing, actually. There is a current housing crisis, so do look into research when it comes to basically finding a place to stay, but I would recommend the co-ops. I was a previous manager for the co-ops, actually, for my house, but it's great. You basically do work shift. You do 5 hours of work shift a week in order to live in the house, but you also get reduced rent. And so as a result of that, you basically get to live in a house for reduced rent, but you just do your work around the house. But definitely one of the ways that I was able to make existing in the Bay Area a little bit easier, just because it's already enough to go to Berkeley in itself. And I feel like there are so many struggles that exist outside of the classroom. But yeah, oh my gosh, it's so funny. I lived in Wolf House, and I also cooked every Monday for my house. We had cook shifts, yeah, every week, and I was cooking for 27 every week, and it was so much fun just being able to connect with people and live with other people and exist with other people. But definitely, out of all of the resources that I've listed, definitely Bridges, just because they're an amazing resource in general, and I'm still really connected with them. Also the co-ops, and then also the Cal Alumni Association, which are here. But that's basically my sort of experience, strength, and hope, my 3 resources that I would like to share with you all. And I hope that you guys have an amazing time. Thanks for inviting me here to speak.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I have to tell you, I used to cook for 42 women. It was and one time I burnt the bread sometimes in the morning, but it was so much fun. And who knew, right? I was social chair. I know that's a little bit strange, but next, let's hear from Natalie Rocha. Welcome, Miss Rocha. Go Bravo Knights.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Natalie Rocha. I am actually currently field deputy for board member Monica Garcia, and my colleague Teresa is leading this event. Happy to support. My story begins in South LA. My parents were very young when they had me. My dad and my mom were both teenagers, and my dad was an immigrant to this country as well, from Mexico, very young. I say that because LA is very, very close to my heart. And I went to schools in LA Unified, proud grad of Bravo High School in our board district. So for us at Bravo, as you know, is a school that's a magnet school in LA Unified. So college going culture was really big at Bravo. And so when I got into Cal, the first thing I did was buy a sweatshirt and announce to my whole school community that I was going to Cal. And I also, EJ, went to senior weekend. So I had the Raza Recruitment and Retention Center sponsor me to go on a plane up to Cal, and that sold it for me. I had some acceptances to schools in LA. However, I wanted to leave home. So I wanted to go somewhere far, but not too far. And the Bay just seemed like a great fit in terms of not being too far away. So for those of you who are considering, you've elected to go to Cal, but you're leaving home, know that home isn't that far away, but it is a very different culture. I will also say that once I went to Cal, I was able to help create kind of like a community. I became part of one of the orgs called Hermanas Unidas, which helped me with my social. We did a lot of social events, but we also did community service. and was a huge support for me at the school. So definitely echo what EJ said about getting hooked up with different organizations within Cal. After my Cal experience, I decided to come back to Los Angeles, no surprise there, to become a teacher. So I taught in Los Angeles for more than 7 years, grades first through third, and saw after, after being a teacher that I wanted to contribute to creating educational equity, not just in my classroom, but across Los Angeles, and decided to make the jump into the policy education world. And that's where I met Board Member Garcia officially. Funny story, I met Board Member Garcia at my high school graduation when she was barely board member for the second year. And so happy to be on her team. This is my second year with Board Member Garcia, and I am excited to continue working to help educational equity in LA. So that's kind of my story. I will also say that when I was going back to my parents, right, they're a huge support system for me. I think one thing that I wanted to mention was that as I was reflecting just now at hearing EJ and about being a Cal alumni, my father had a chance to be a Cal student, but he chose to turn that down because he had children and he didn't have the financial ability to go to Cal. So when I decided to go to Cal, it felt full circle because my dad could have been a Cal Bear, wasn't a Cal Bear, and I was able to, it just happened to be that I ended up being a Cal Bear. So some of these things happen for a reason. You kind of end up where you should end up. And yeah, we're here to support.
Thank you very much, Natalie. And next, let's hear from John Heidel Valencia. Welcome, John Heidel. Let's hear your story.
Right. Hello, everybody. First off, I want to say congratulations to all of you who are here who got accepted to Berkeley. That is such a huge, huge accomplishment. And I know it was said earlier, that's one part of the battle. And I don't want to just call it battle, one part, it's just one part of a long journey, a transformative journey that you're about to be on. And I just want to say, like, my experience at Berkeley was really transformational in the sense that I really learned about myself. I grew up, I experienced lots of challenges, and I also learned a lot. I got exposed to so many things that I wouldn't have been exposed to if I wouldn't have gone. So for that, I am so grateful for that experience. And I am grateful to everything that allowed me to have that experience. And just starting off with my story, I want to say my family laid a really big foundation for me to be able to be to graduate, from UC Berkeley. My mom grew up in East Los Angeles at a time where there was not really much academic support. She went to Roosevelt High School. She did not graduate. And for me, she really instilled in me the importance of being in school because she didn't have the support that I had in the generation that I was in the same schools that she was. My dad's an immigrant from Colombia. And he also didn't have the opportunity to go to college, a very different experience. So, for me, I was a first generation college student. Everything was new to me. I did not have access. I didn't know what I was doing. So when I arrived at UC Berkeley, the challenging part was that I didn't know what I was doing. The great part was that I had exposure to so many things that guided me and helped me along the way. So for me, I was really involved on campus as well. And I will say the biggest and most important lessons that I received was being able to be involved in all the amazing organizations that are available, both at Berkeley and in the surrounding community. And that's where I really was able to learn and put whatever I was learning in the classroom into practice. So for me, I was an intern at the Multicultural Community Center, which is one of the centers that was actually fought for by students. So one really important thing that drew me to Berkeley was that it has such a rich student activist history. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to that school. And actually that center was fought for by students, was demanded for by students back in 1969, when there was a big movement to call for ethnic studies. And if y'all have ethnic studies at your school, that emerged out of UC Berkeley and it emerged out of San Francisco State University. So a little thing to know. And that also informed what I decided to study. So my major was Native American Studies and I minored in Chicano Studies and art. So for me, what was really important to me as a student was that I wanted to stay really grounded in the stories of my community, where I grew up, my people, my family, and all those things are really important to me. So I was really grateful that UC Berkeley had these programs that not a lot of schools have. And that I was able to integrate, my art, integrate my love for the community and engaging people at UC Berkeley. And I feel like my involvement in student organizations like the Multicultural Center and other student organizations like Bridges that was mentioned by both EJ and Natalie, all those centers that are there for you, those are really the family that you're gonna find over there, especially for first generation students and students of color who may not have that exposure when they first go to school. Like those are the places that are gonna like really keep you grounded. So I first want to, and then as you all start your journey, I want to say that you all deserve to be there, that you were chosen, and that don't let anything else like make you think any different, because it will be challenging, things will be different, but that doesn't mean that you're not capable, and it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to be there. Everything you do, your vision, your dreams, everything that you want to do are really important. So we want to remind you of that. Those of us who have gone through that journey, who graduated or who just graduated, like you have a whole community backing you up. You have us who went through that experience here to remind you that you belong and that everything you do is super important. So I just want to say congratulations again.
Beautiful, gracias. So I'm gonna introduce our next guest, and I wanna say this. I loved my experience at Cal. It kicked my butt. My first semester, I had a 0.045 GPA. Crazy story, I won't tell it all now, but I had 2 deaths in my family. That's the universe talking to me again. 2 deaths in my family, a car accident on the day of my political science test. And there were so many Garcias in the Chicano studies class, I got somebody else's F. But things went wrong. And I came home for about a year. Then I had to go see a dean at Berkeley and ask to be let in. And after a long process, they let me in and I got a second chance. And I feel like I wanted to pay forward the second chance experience because I was a good student. I loved school. My mom and dad are immigrants from Mexico, and they sacrificed and gave us an opportunity to learn. But the biggest gift Berkeley gave me was knowing myself and knowing that I was strong and resilient and courageous. And I graduated with a Chicano Studies, political science dual degree. That was the first gift Cal gave me. The second gift Cal gave me is the amazing people I met along the path. So the people who make you really crazy and you wish you never met them, and the people who you just want to carry along for the rest of your life and you're super glad that you met them. Cal introduced me to amazing human beings. We're going to hear from one of them. That's Alfonso R. Salazar. But I have to tell you what we heard in all the stories. You're a gift to everybody at Cal. Just like Alfonso was a gift to me, but my friends and the people who I experienced during that time have been transformational. And so I am proud of all of you who took the challenge, applied and got in and accepted. And I'm gonna ask you, as you listen to Alfonso, your job is to finish. We're glad you got there. We need you to finish. And so the California Alumni Association is one of the many, 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 many resources that you need to get to know, because a lot of us are first generation college goers and we don't know what we're going to experience, but certainly this pandemic taught us a lot. And next, I'll just turn it over to Alfonso. He could share with us his story and tell us more about the California Alumni Association. Welcome, Alfonso.
Ms. Garcia, thank you so much for bringing us all together this afternoon. Greatly appreciate you, your leadership at LAUSD, and everything you do for all of our students in Los Angeles. So thank you for everything you do. And first, let me just start by saying, on behalf of the over 500,000 living alumni in the world, I'd like to welcome all of our Cal Bears to the Berkeley family. So congratulations, everyone. What an amazing accomplishment. And Ms. Garcia is absolutely correct. And all of our speakers are correct. Step 1 is getting in. Step 2 is getting through. And one of the messages we wanted to share with you is we are all here for you to help you along that journey. And let me just kind of share a little bit about my story. I grew up in Boyle Heights. I attended Euclid Elementary in LAUSD, and a proud graduate of Euclid. I started off at Hollenbeck, but back in the day when I was going to school, there was mandatory busing. And my mother said, oh no, you're not getting bused to the Valley. We're gonna send you to the Catholic school down the street. So I had a chance to graduate from Cathedral High School. But it was really kind of that cathedral that I got introduced to Berkeley, because I had no idea what I was going to do after high school. But some admissions counselors came to campus and met with a few of us and said, Alfonso, you have an opportunity to go to UC Berkeley, and we want to be part of that journey with you. And here is the steps you need to take in order to get accepted to Cal. But for Lucy, who was that counselor, I would have never gotten to Cal. So I am so thrilled that there's people like Lucy and like these panelists here today who are offering olive branches to all of you to kind of help you with that journey. Berkeley is a long way from Boyle Heights. It's a world of difference, folks. And I will share with you, it was one of the best experiences of my life. And people like Miss Garcia and other friends we've met there are the reason why I got through. And I was lucky enough to graduate with a BA in political science and a BA in ethnic studies. And lucky enough to be able to maneuver the university with summer school in about 4 years. And lucky enough to continue to be part of this Cal family. After college, you all kind of, think what's next, right? And full circle, we find ourselves coming back to Cal, giving back to our community. And this is one of the things Ms. Garcia and I really wanted to do, is bring our LAUSD, a Black and Brown community together to celebrate your accomplishments, to really, say congratulations and success for the next 4 years. I was lucky enough to get introduced to the Cal Alumni Association a few years back. And through that journey, I find myself president-elect of this amazing organization that started in 1872. The first graduating class of UC Berkeley established the Cal Alumni Association. And I am challenging all of you to become members of this great organization, an organization that continues to give back, that invests in your life, and hopefully will continue to invest in your future. And as you continue to move forward, our hope is that you will continue to invest in Berkeley as well. We are so blessed to have Chloe Hewlett as our executive director. And she is driving somewhere between the high Sierras by Yosemite and Berkeley, listening into this, this Zoom meeting today, the celebration. And I'm going to brag about Chloe just for a little bit. Chloe and I first met as we were both serving in the Davis administration in Sacramento. But what I didn't know about Chloe was just what an amazing woman she is. She leads the Cal Alumni Association. But prior to that, she has been named the California Law Review Alumni of the Year. She has been named a woman who could be president. She has been named a legal pioneer. She has been awarded outstanding achievement by the University of California. But what many people don't know, especially your sports fans out there, she was outside counsel to the Sacramento Kings and continues to sit on the foundation of the San Francisco 49ers. And one of the things that I'm going to ask each and every one of you is, when you are on campus in the fall, go find Chloe. Go introduce yourself. Remind her that you are on this Zoom call and you want to be part of her movement at UC Berkeley. And if you do that, that is step one in finding your march towards graduation. So Ms. Garcia, I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to pause here if that's okay and kind of open up the floor. And I don't know if Chloe's able to chime in. Chloe, if you are, please do so. But we are so proud to have you. We're so proud to have all of these great LAUSD students on the line today. And we cannot wait to help you be successful.
Thank you so much. I saw Chloe peek in. We want her to be safe for sure.
Yes.
Chloe, there she is. Do you want to join us? Do you have any words for us? You're on mute.
Great. Hi, how are you? I'm so sorry that I'm not in person. I'm driving from the Lair of the Bear, and I'm so happy to have our board member, Garcia, and Alfonso on the call as well, because we camped together at Lair of the Bear. And I really want to welcome all of you up to the Lair of the Bear with us. It is an incredible experience. And I would just say that when I first went to Cal, I came from real poverty. So when I went to Cal, it was like going to another country. And there were times when, I doubted I was going to make it. But no matter what, I was resolved that I wasn't going to give up, that they were going to have to take me out of there kicking and screaming, and I was not giving up. And I think the thing that I did the most while I was there is that I just immersed myself in all different types of experiences. One year I was a political leader. The next year I was hanging out with the international crowd. Another year I was into athletics. And that's what I loved about it, is that it was like being exposed to so many different experiences and countries at the same time. But the other thing Alfonso didn't highlight as much is that both he and I served as undersecretaries for the governor. At that time, Governor Gray Davis, and we oversaw numerous huge agencies and handled some of the most complex issues facing the state. And so our bond only got stronger when we decided that we were really going to take the Alumni Association to the next level. But most of all of us who are with the Cal Alumni Association board and the alumni that are on this call right now, we are committed to you. And we have your back. So we hope you come see us when school opens. We're right in the middle of campus in the Alumni House. And I look forward to seeing you up at the Lair of the Bear.
Yay, thank you, Chloe. We want you to be safe. We appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate what you do for all of our alumni family. So friends, here's a couple of questions we've got from our audience. Has anyone had the RA experience? And if so, how was it? Residential assistant, RA?
No, I don't think.
We're gonna save that one. And
Yep.
Somebody lived in, did anybody live in the dorms? Well, go
Unit
ahead.
3, Norton Hall.
Talk to us about dorm living.
Oh my goodness, what a difference, huh? Unit back in the day, there were 3 units, of which there were 4 buildings on each unit. I think I arrived on campus the Sunday before school started on Tuesday, and I got to understand dorm life really quickly. Everyone else had moved in. Everyone else was there already, and here I come with my bag. And it was the RA who said, "Hey, have you gotten your meal card yet?" Right. So the cafeteria in the dorm life is kind of the center of social activity within those four buildings there. Small room, 2 beds, restrooms down the hall. It was just a completely different experience. You know, as a Latino family, you're taught to kind of trust your family. You know, you do anything for your family, but you kind of are a little guarded. We're also, you know, taught to be a little guarded with everyone else outside of your family, right? So it was a kind of a huge change to kind of, yeah, eat meals with people I didn't know, and, you know, share the restroom with people I didn't know, and kind of, you know, get adjusted to that lifestyle. But you know, after a few weeks, we were all in the same boat. I think we were all trying to figure out freshman year together, and we all worked together to help each other out. So it was definitely a wonderful experience.
Thanks, EJ. You lived in the dorms?
Yes, I did live in the dorms. I lived in Unit 2 in Cunningham. And although admittedly, I feel like my life in the dorms was a little, I don't know, I kind of described them like human farms. I was everywhere except my dorm. I was kind of just, I lived and I existed there, and I had my roommate there, but it was sort of like home base and I was never there. But what I will say is that dorming was really interesting and awesome in itself, just because it was kind of like my first permanent living space away from home, I guess. And that was just really cool, just being able to engage with people in a different space like that, and kind of just like have people down the hall that I could like see and speak to. I think another interesting thing about Berkeley dorms is that all of the bathrooms are gender neutral. So basically just taking that into consideration, like all your bathrooms and showers are all in one spot, but basically like everything is like floor to ceiling. So it really just changes your perspective on how you operate within communities and society. But definitely a lot of paradigms broken and shifted as a result of that. But yeah.
Indeed, indeed. I'm going to go to the next question. How did you navigate through Cal and decide what organizations to join? And are there any clubs that are just for fun? Who wants to start?
I can go back in on this one, actually. So in terms of navigating through Cal, I guess I would say that it was kind of just like the first thing that I kind of got involved in, I got sucked into, because I did go to senior weekend, and then I immediately got pulled into Bridges and Mixed Recruitment and Retention Center and started throwing like the event like the next year. So definitely, you'd be surprised where you kind of just like stumble upon. Honestly, I did see another question here that was asking about like clubs being very strict. There are some clubs that are very strict and competitive, but I promise like not all of them are like that. Especially like more community-based organizations like Bridges. It's more like, yeah, I would definitely say like more community-based stuff is a lot easier, just a lot more laid back, because it's sort of like more about trying to offer support and resources. Whereas stuff that's more like hobby-based, or stuff that is more of like a resume builder, I guess, for lack of better words, because I was also involved with loosely involved with the ASUC. But there are like certain things, basically, if you really care and like prefer community-based stuff, that's a lot easier to get into. But if you want to like work in terms of like hobby stuff, then it'll get a little bit more strict. But that's basically like the line to tell. But all organizations on campus are fairly great.
And what's ASUC?
The ASUC is the Associated Student Body of the University of California, right? It's like Associated Students of the University of California. It's basically an overglorified student council, but we get a $1 million budget, I believe. And basically there are like a whole panel of senators that basically determine and allocate funds, and they basically get elected from different communities. One of my close friends was actually the queer and trans endorsed senator a few years ago. And so just a lot of different things kind of going on with that particular organization. But yeah, that's the ASUC.
Thank you.
Ms. Garcia, there's a quick plug here. couple student programs that the Alumni Association sponsor. One is a club, CASA, the Cal Alumni Student Association. So definitely a club that everyone should look into in the fall. Everyone's welcome to join. A couple other great programs that we run for students are the CAA scholarships. And I know everyone's concerned about dollars. So go to our website and look up students scholarships. We have some amazing scholarships for people just like yourselves. So please check them out and apply. These dollars, we raise these monies for you. So please do everything you can to get involved with that. And then also we have summer welcome programs, and maybe we could share those dates with everyone in the email afterwards. But there's summer welcome programs in Southern California. The Chicano Latino Alumni Associations having a program themselves. All kinds of different alumni groups have their own programs. So want to make sure everyone gets involved with those activities as well this summer.
Yeah, I can share next. Well, I will share that there are hundreds of clubs and none of them are the same. And if you want to start a club, you can start a club, and you can basically find a club for anything. If you're a Harry Potter fan, one thing that really stood out to me, I never joined, but there's a Quidditch team on campus, and like they play Quidditch on a grassy area. So that's a thing. So if you could think of the most outlandish thing, it will be there. Also, like, if you're interested in joining a club, you know, every single day you're gonna be bombarded by a whole row of tables. Given that you'll be back on campus in person, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so you'll be walking down the main plaza, and there's like a line of or rows of tables and people trying to recruit you to join their club. Those aren't the only clubs, but there are different like things that you can get involved with. Sometimes you might be a little bit overwhelmed and like try to take another route, which I would do sometimes. Sometimes like, I'm stressed out, I need to take I'm like stressed out about this class. I don't have time to deal with this. But if you want and you're interested, that's the really great place to get to know what to join.
I can tell you, for me, I remember Chicanos and criminal law. We had to pick one project. I picked all of them. So the Vacaville Prison Project, Centro Legal de la Raza, and I actually got a part-time little temporary job with Latino Issues Forum, and each of them brought a friend and brought some new experiences, but lots and lots of clubs. Another question that came up is, how did you deal with the rigor? How did you deal with the rigor of Berkeley? And then the other question is, do you have an opinion about, is it hard to be a double major, or do you recommend having a minor? Panel?
I can answer that question. I was a double major in social welfare and Spanish. I don't think I went into college knowing what I wanted to do or what I wanted to major in. So just for folks on the call who don't know yet what to major in, you'll figure it out. I think, you know, the first year, the first semester, especially, you're taking classes that are required for undergrads. You have a slew of requirements that you can choose different classes to fulfill the first 2 years of your college experience. And then as you decide what you're going to major in your second, I believe your third and fourth year there, you get to choose more classes devoted to your major. So social welfare is an impacted major, at least it was when I was in school, which meant that there were more people who wanted to have that major than professors and classes allowed. And so there was that like a little bit of pressure of thinking about, well, if I'm going to choose that, I have to choose it earlier. But it worked out. And if you fulfill the requirements, very likely you can get in. You can talk to the dean of the school and figure out how you can fulfill the requirements. And then I was interested in Spanish. I ended up doing option linguistics, and a lot of my classes overlapped. So it is a little bit, someone in the comments, I don't know if it was a previous student or a senior who's done their homework, but you can see which classes overlap and see what majors you can also double in. And that's a really good strategy, because otherwise you might have to take extra summer courses. I never had to do summer school because of the way I planned it out. But if you do, there are courses you can take over the summer to double major. I don't know that you have to double major, but it is a consideration. If you decide to do that, you know, I would definitely figure out how to plan out which courses to take. But your first year, it's okay. Folks go in thinking they're going to major in something and then decide, hey, I actually don't want to do that anymore. It's okay to take courses. I love my astronomy course with Alex Filipenko. I don't know if he's still there. With Robert Reich, the wealth and poverty class, I believe like some of the biggest classes with 600-700 students were also some of the most impactful classes I had. So it's okay. Don't get lost in the crowd. You learn a lot if you go to class.
Yeah, go ahead, Alfonso.
John, floor is yours. Floor is yours, John.
Okay. Yes. Well, I will share that it's not necessarily difficult to double major. You just really have to plan. My plan was to double major, but I did not plan very well. So I ended up just with a double minor. I was trying to do too much. I was trying to do 3 majors. I was trying to do anthropology. I was trying to do art. I was trying to do Chicano studies, Native American studies. I was trying to do astronomy. And I was like, okay, I have to like reorganize myself. I didn't know what I want to do. I just had so many interests, but you can do it. It's just about knowing that at the beginning, you should definitely plan. There's a lot of academic advisors on campus that are wanting to talk with you. If you sit down with them, they will help you plan out your schedule, give you suggestions of which classes to take. If you're a first generation student, a student of color, you will have access to EOP, which is the Educational Opportunity Program. So sign up for that. Please do that your first semester. Do that the first week so that you'll be on a list and you have like first access to a lot of things than the rest of the students, because it's about equity, and that's about like giving you equitable access to a lot of support that you may not have compared to other students. Talking about the rigor of the classes, given that you were accepted to Berkeley, I'm assuming that a lot of you are the top students of your high schools. When you get, well, relatively compared to like getting good grades, because that doesn't mean that there's, you know, a high, like what is top or what is not, but you did well in high school. You got good grades. Going to college, it may be a little bit different. So you may get a little stressed out if you get an F in a class. Sometimes it happens. Do not put yourself down because you get an F. I failed some classes and I was like, what happened to me? I used to be really good at school and I spiraled. It's all good. It happens. It's part of the journey. Dealing with the rigor is just about learning how to navigate college, which is a different way of studying. It's a different way of taking tests. What really helped me in some of the more difficult classes is that I studied in a group. I developed a team for some classes and we like studied together. We practiced with each other. We like talked about the things we were learning, and that helped me to memorize. Another thing is, a big issue is procrastination. A lot of students deal with it. If you're on Instagram, in my generation, it was Tumblr. I don't know if that's still a thing. I mean, I'm not that much older than you all, but Tumblr was a big thing. And now spend hours on social media instead of studying. Make sure you manage your time, because that will interfere. It's not too difficult. It's just around changing your habits that you may not have had in high school. So it's about really building good habits, learning time management, talking to people, and asking for help.
You know, this rigor question is very, very important. And I just want to make sure everyone understands that Cal's hard. It was difficult, right? I mean, I graduated top of my class here in Los Angeles, but I ended up in a remedial English class. And I'm thinking, this is difficult. Maybe my high school didn't teach me how to write. What's wrong with me, right? But it took me a while to quickly understand there are so many people at Berkeley who want to see you succeed. And there are so many people around you that are willing to help you. And we just need to get out of our own way and accept that help, accept that assistance, and let them help you be the wonderful student you can be. It was probably my sophomore year, and I was taking one of those large classes that we talked about earlier, and I was in a small breakout room that I finally decided that I actually belonged there. You know, I would sit in these small groups thinking, God, these people are so much smarter than I am. What's wrong with me, right? But after, you know, about a year and a half, I finally thought, you know what? I belong here and I could do this. The other tip I just want to share with everyone is please find a tutor. I always grew up thinking tutors were bad things. Tutors were people you went to because you didn't know or you needed some help. It was my junior year when I finally realized that all the A students I knew had standing meetings with their tutors. They actually were part of their academic strategy. They took advantage of the tutors from day one. And that's why they were getting A's. It wasn't because they were smarter than me, it was because they were using the resources available to them to help them get through Berkeley. So go find Chloe and go find a tutor. 2 tips of advice for everyone. And you could do it. You guys could do it. Absolutely.
Can I chime in really quickly? I had a thought as you were speaking about the rigor, and because sometimes the rigor is, it is the classes, but sometimes the rigor is just life and things happen outside of life. And I remember my junior year, I had a really difficult family experience that was even harder because they weren't near me, they were far away. And I remember needing to go into the office of my, it was midterm season. I needed to go into the office of my different professors to ask for an extension. I was not in a place where I could turn in work. And again, for someone who aims to put their best foot forward, this was not an easy thing to do. However, I was ultimately able to get an extension that I asked for, and I didn't end up having to suffer ultimately like fail the class or anything because I advocated for myself. And when I was there, there was 5 classes that you see, I'm sorry, 5 therapy sessions that you could go to that were included in your, actually including your health plan or just for students in general. I don't know if that's still available. I hope UC Berkeley has still prioritized mental health for students, but you have 5 at least when I was there, I had 5 mental health sessions that you could attend. If there is something happening around you, reach out. The university has resources on that as well. So just sharing that.
I'll chime in and also segue into the next question, just because I do think that, yeah, kind of the same way that Natalie mentioned about rigor, not just applying to academia, but also just to life in general. And I kind of always mention how, or one of the observations that I made, at least going to Cal, is that I'm like, people aren't great just because they go to Cal. People are great because they put up with life and go to Cal. And so a lot of people basically do juggle like all of, or a ton of different things that are going on in their lives on top of school. And I think talking about like rigor, and then also the next question asking about working and taking school at the same time, I definitely ran myself into the ground my sophomore year, and I put myself $3,000 in debt over a summer. And in my attempt to get out of it, I took 3 jobs on, or 2 of them. I took 2 jobs on, was a manager at my co-op to make ends meet, and then I was also taking 15 or 16 units that semester. Anyway, I failed physics. And I think the lesson is just to recognize capacity in general. And also, like, as you're working, like, there is reduced course loads that you're allowed to take as a result of it. Like, if you don't have to balance like 2 or 3 jobs and take 16 units at the same time and like try and graduate on time. Like, when you get out is when you get out. But the reality is that, like, recognize capacity first. Like, go to school, take a job, see if you like if you're a little like stressed out or anything, and then see what else you can add on. And then honestly, if like you need to make ends meet, then ask for a reduced course load. Especially because I do know that the colleges of letters and science and colleges of natural resources, as somebody who's been in both, will be very accommodating as long as you just let them know what your hours are. But those are 2 of the, or just to answer 2 of the questions that have been out there. But yeah.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask you all, what do you wish you knew? So we've given some tips on EOP office, work on campus. My campus job was awesome. Helped me, gave me access to a computer. Back then, the Mac Classic was it. But what do you wish you would have known when you were transitioning to, and we had a question of how does the bridge program help you? So transition, what is the tips for transitioning?
Okay. I think it's been shared, but I just want to echo it again. Find a group, a small group that you can be part of. It is one of the things I wish I would have known, which is kind of self-evident, is that Cal is huge. There's, I think, 30,000 people. Like, it's huge. You're one of 6,000 people of your class, potentially, at least when I was there. And so it is very, very big, which is both opportunity, but also can be a challenge. So find people that you can, and there's so many diverse people, you will find your people if you look for them. That would be my first thing when you're transitioning, find your people.
Let me just circle back to, there are people who want to support you. And CAA is one of those entities that want to support you. So if you find yourself in a stressful situation, if you need, trying to figure out what you're going to eat that Thursday, find the Cal Alumni Association. One of the things I did while I was there is learn to volunteer for organizations that tend to have a lot of receptions, and there's always kind of leftover food, right? So you get to eat, which is kind of cool as a Cal student. So there's always these little tricks you pick up. Also remember, you all could do it. Find your inner confidence, find your inner strength, whether you do it for yourself, whether you do it for your mom or your abuelita or your tia, whoever it is, right? You are there representing yourself, representing your family, representing our communities. And there are so many people who want to see you be successful. So it was I think my sophomore year that I was thinking, what am I doing here? I'm so far from home. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through it? And then I realized there's a lot of people back at home who want to see me succeed. And that at that time, there was only about two years left, right? So let's go for it. So you all could do it. We believe in you. We want to see you succeed. Go find the Cal Alumni Association. They'll be helpful.
Well, I have several thoughts. Just because I want to make sure that you all are prepared, know that you're supported. One thing I will say is that the homesickness could be real. I experienced homesickness in random moments of my time there. I also experienced imposter syndrome. If you don't know what that is, it's like, do I belong here? I don't belong here. What am I doing here? All these thoughts that may or may not come up. Again, those things are common experiences. It doesn't make it less real, but you will experience that. So again, like the point of like finding your people is really important. You will find them by getting involved. You'll find them by talking to your professors. You'll find them by being in clubs and these organizations. I'll list a few. The Bridges, which is, again, the recruitment and retention centers focused specifically for students of color. For me, the Multicultural Community Center was my home, away from home. That's where I felt like I belonged. I felt really held and protected there. Again, there's many organizations, but for me, that was my experience. That's where I felt like I felt supported. And you'll find your people wherever it is. It could be in your departments, talking to your professors. That I didn't know I can do that. I was really afraid to do that. And I was like, oh my God, there are these big professors. They've written books. Oh my goodness. They wanted to talk with you and they want to support you. So like, there are going to be people who are there to support you and guide you and would love to see you succeed, because that's why they're there. The next thing is, and also like being involved actually is what I still stay connected with a lot of people, and a lot of the jobs and opportunities I've had even 5 years later come because of the connections I've made at school. I work at Inner City Struggle, which is in East Los Angeles. My best friend was part of Inner City Struggle when they were in high school, and they were my best friend in college at Berkeley. Another friend it referred me to the job. So it's just like all these connections are going to be there to support you even way after. Even talking about board member Garcia and Alfonso being connected when they were in school and they're still connected, like those connections are going to be for life. You won't know it until like afterwards and you'll see, oh my God. The next one, I have a lot to share, but I just want to make sure that I want to share that you all know is that when I started, I had no idea what college was about. I thought I knew, like everybody told me, go to college, you did good in school, like go to college, I applied, I got in. But when I got there, I didn't know what college was. I didn't know what I was doing or what my classes were about. So what I will say, what is important to do is write, learn how to write. If you're gonna be, not everyone, if you're gonna go into the sciences, maybe that won't be as important, but if you're gonna be in the College of Letters and Sciences, but maybe it is, it depends on your department. But in the College of Letters and Sciences, I feel like I felt really behind and I didn't know how to write. I felt like I didn't know how to do things. I felt really inadequate. But take advantage of the writing centers, take advantage of people who maybe have more experience, and that's gonna help you a lot. I feel like if I learned anything in college was how to write. Another thing is research. I didn't know what research was about, but Berkeley is a research institution. And I didn't know what that was until my third year. And I was like, I'm already about to graduate, and now I learned what Berkeley is about. It's about research. So look into what research is. What you can do is that if you have any interest in anything, if you want to know why the sun shines bright, if you want to know like, things that are happening in your community, if you have a passion for your culture, you can do a research project on that in school, and you can get funded for it. You can get support, and you can make it into something really meaningful. So I want to just encourage you to look for those programs that help you to research. One of them is like the McNair program, which is what I did. You can do that your junior year. So just something to like think about. And then last thing, free food. There's lots of free food on campus. If you join clubs, if you go to these centers, there's free food, and I didn't have to pay for food for like several meals out of my week. So just something to know.
Okay, Natalie, did anybody else? So lovely. Big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you all for your Cal spirit. Thank you for investing in our young people, and to the class of 2021. If you're willing to show your face, I'd love to take a picture with you. And we're going to do a raffle, and we have 2 Cal hats to raffle. And the only thing I can say is that we're going to ask the winner be present right now at the 3:28 mark. So Teresa is going to help us with that. But here's the bottom line. We hope you're excited. We hope that you heard. You got to believe in you, because we do. And it is hard. And that's part of the fun. So make a decision that graduation, whether it's 2025 or 2026 or whenever that happens for you, is happening, and you will find your way. Falling down and getting up, or just like life, it's the fun part. It is the fun part. Yes, you can. We're so super proud of you. And we're excited. We're excited for your next steps. Teresa, help us with the raffle. First raffle winner. And shout out to Teresa Cortez, who helped organize all of us. And thanks to all the Board District 2 team. Look at this. We got pick a wheel. Go ahead. Spin it. Amaya Parks. You asked a question. You're here. Fabulous. Winner number 1. And you're seeing our panel put their, yay, there you are. Go Bears.
So Maya, if you can email me or put your chat in a private chat. Put your email in the chat box.
Parks, put your email in the chat, and we will connect and mail it to you. Next. Alisa Castillo. Is she present? There she is. Is she present? Elisa, show yourself. You can do a chat to let us know. Yay! Woohoo! Okay. So fabulous. Go Bears. We love you. We believe in you. We continue to have high expectations. Your community is with you. Thank you to all our panelists. Appreciate Al and Chloe and the California Alumni Association. Yes, I am a lifetime member. Go Bears. Have a great afternoon, everybody.